In this part, let's discuss about the age of Guptas, and we'll be discussing only about the source and the contribution of Guptas in the period in the area of education, literature, and culture. The Gupta period is considered as the classical age or golden age of Indian history because of their contribution. During their reign, there was a development in almost all the fields in education, in architecture, art, literature, metallurgy, and so on. And as a result, many historians say that this period was truly the golden age in Indian history. Now, there are two sources that give information about the Guptas, so we'll be discussing both of them. The first one is the accounts of Faxian, a Chinese pilgrim, and then archaeological source, that is Allahabad Pillar inscription. Coming to the accounts of Faxian, Faxian was a Chinese pilgrim or traveler. So he visited on a religious mission during the reign of Chandragupta II. He was a Buddhist and he wanted to have a first-hand experience of Gautama Buddha. So he visited mainly the places associated with Buddhism like Mathura, Kanauj, Kashi, Rajagruha, and so on. And during his visit, he observed a lot of things and he wrote down, and that has provided a lot of information about the Gupta age. And what are they? First, he mentions about Magadha being prosperous and the population being wealthy, Pataliputra a flourishing city, and there were numerous charitable institutions like hospitals. Then he also says that though people were so wealthy, they lived a very simple life because of the influence of Buddhism. Apart from Buddhism, there were also Vaishnavism, Vaishnavites, Shaivites, Jains living together. Though the Guptas followed Hinduism, all these religions lived in harmony. The Hindu gods and goddesses were depicted on coins and sculptures, and penal codes were very mild according to him, according to his observation, and usually the punishments were just the fines were imposed on the culprits. The second source is archaeological source called Allahabad Pilla inscription located in Allahabad. It's also called Prayaga Prashasti. So composed by Harisen, the court poet of Samudragupta. So he described the reign of Guptas and the list of kings or tribal republics conquered by Samudragupta. So as a source, it gives information about the conquest of Samudragupta, the political history of kings, various tribes, and Indian history of 4th century AD. In detail, the inscription tells about like Samudragupta defeated 9 rulers of Aryavarta clan, the 12 rulers of Dakshinapatha surrendered to him, Assam, coastal Bengal, Nepal, and numerous Ganasangas paid tribute. The rulers outside, they offered their daughters in marriage to Samudragupta. And the poet also mentions the bravery of the king, saying that he performed Ashwamedha Yagna. Now, what is Ashwamedha Yagna? Now, Ashwamedha Yagna is a horse sacrifice ritual usually performed by most of the ancient rulers, including you see this in Mahabharata. Now, here a horse was left to wander by the king. If someone catches the horse, then it's a challenge to the king, and the king had to defeat him and let the horse free again to roam. So after the king gets satisfied that there is no one to challenge him, he orders, and the horse is used to take back to the king's palace, and then it is sacrificed, and that is called Ashwamedha Yagna. Okay, little bit of the political history of the Guptas. So the first rulers are Sri Gupta and Ghatotkacha, but it's obscure. We don't have valid information to prove it. Only Puranas mention the names. So based on facts, it is believed that the Gupta era began with Chandragupta first. So he was the founder, official founder. Officially, we consider him as the founder based on facts. He had a title called Maharaja. His son Samudragupta, he extended the empire. He had a title called The Napoleon of India by Dr. Vincent Smith. The source is Allahabad Pilla inscription. Then the other prominent ruler of the Guptas was Chandragupta II, or he was also called Vikramaditya. The Vikram stories are associated with this person. So Fajjan visited his court and has provided a lot of information. Just we discussed now, very recently. Now, Gupta era is called Golden Age in history because of the development seen in different areas. Like there was a revival of Hinduism, there was development of education, literature, arts, architecture, science. In almost all the fields there was development. It's called classical age because of the development in Sanskrit. It is called revival of Hinduism because earlier, due to the impact of Jainism and Buddhism, there was a decline in Hinduism. But the Guptas revived Hinduism. That's why it is called Brahminical Renaissance or revival of Hinduism. So let's see the contribution of Guptas in various fields, especially three: education, culture and literature. Education was given utmost importance. Literature, science, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, medicine were the main subjects dealt in education. The Pataliputra, Ujjain, Ayodhya and Nasik, these were the learning centers during the Gupta age. Teachers were usually Brahmins. They were called Upadhyaya or Bhattas, and they were supported by grants of villages called Agrahara. The disciples were called Shishyas. They had to learn 14 sections of science, Vedas, 6 Vedangas, Puranas, Mimamsas, etc. to become a teacher. Jains and Buddhists had different dimensions. So there was 10 years of training, began with oral training, and then reading and writing. So monasteries, where these Jains and Buddhist monasteries had libraries, they were actually the learning centers. Students from China, Southeast Asia visited India to acquire education. So higher education was also given a lot of importance during the Gupta era period. So popular universities, Nalanda, one of the most popular universities, we'll be discussing very soon. Takshila, the oldest, and one should you remember, all these universities, Nalanda, which you are going to discuss, were established much before Gupta. They were all Buddhist centers. But during the time of Guptas, they saw great development. They became very popular. So Nalanda University, there may be a picture study on this. So location is Nalanda, a place in Rajagruha in the state of Bihar. So source, Xuanzang, who visited after the Guptas. So Xuanzang, in our term we call him Huansang. So actually it's pronounced as Xuanzang. So Chinese traveler just like Fajjan. So he has given detailed information about Nalanda University. So he visited during the reign of Harshavardhana. So he gives information about Nalanda. He says it had imposing buildings enclosed by brick wall. There were 8 colleges built by different patrons, including one called Balaputra Deva of Sumatra, Indonesia. So provided various facilities to students. It had 3 libraries, Ratnasagar, Ratnodadi and Ratnaranjak. At a time, it seems during his visit, there were 10,000 students from across India and China. So, and there are 1,500 professors. And the ratio was, it seems at one time, 1:5. That means for every 5 students, there was 1 professor. Students from Korea, Mongolia, Japan, China, Tibet, Ceylon, Sri Lanka, so visited India to study in this university. This was the first residential university in the world. The subjects: Vedas, logic, grammar, medicine, Sankhya, school of Hinduism, yoga, Nyaya, the Buddhist doctrines, Buddhist works of different schools were taught in this university. It was a postgraduate institution. Admission was very, very difficult. Okay, so there was a strict entrance exam, and only those who passed, it seems hardly 20% cleared it, so used to enter the university, and once you enter, everything was free. So unfortunately, this was destroyed by Muhammad bin Bakhtiar Khilji, the general of Muhammad Ghori, in 12th century. So but the remains are still found even to this day. So these are the remains of Nalanda University located in Rajgruha, Bihar. So the person who gives information is Xuan Sang. Science. Gupta gave great contribution towards science, especially astronomy, medicine, metallurgy, and so on. Metallurgy, for example, of course, it is not there, but still good to know. The best example is the iron pillar, which is still not rusted. It is, in spite of exposed to weather and different natural elements, it's still not rusted. Located in Marauli near Qutub Minar. Then there's Varamira, great astrologer, so proved moon rotates around the earth much before the Europeans. Then Brahmagupta, who hinted about gravity before Newton. Then there were famous physician Charaka and Sushruta, the first plastic surgeons way before Europeans. So all these were present during the time of Guptas. So in this part, kindly focus on Aryabhata because that's what the council prescribes to us to study. So he was astronomer and mathematician. His two important books are Aryabhatiyam and Surya Siddhanta. His contribution. He said Earth moves around the sun several centuries before Europeans. He discovered the rule of finding the area of triangle, calculate the exact value of pi, which was equal to 3.1416. And he developed trigonometry, mentioned the exact cause of solar and lunar eclipse, and is acquainted with the decimal system and use of zero. So these are all contribution of Aryabhata. So we should be very proud of it. Culture. Again, there was a great development of culture, mainly because of the prosperity, then political and economic stability. Rulers contribute a lot to development of culture. Numerous temples have been built, but most of them are been destroyed due to invaders. So one of the important features is earlier wood and perishable material were used to build temples, but during the Gupta period they used stone, brick and solid materials. But in spite of that, most of them have been destroyed. So one temple that we are going to discuss is this is very important in terms of picture study, that is Vishnu temple. So it is also called as Dashavatara temple. It is located in a place called Jhansi. So this is the temple. So we'll come back to that. So let's see the details first. So place is Jhansi, located in Uttar Pradesh. The main materials used are stone and bricks. So important feature, this is dedicated to Vishnu temple. It's a Vaishnava temple. This is the earliest Hindu stone temple to survive even today. So first North Indian temple to have Shikara. Earlier the temples were flat. This was the first temple. We don't have any other proofs. This was the first temple to have a Shikara. It was built on a 1.5 meter platform, has 4 stairways, 4 entrances. Exteriors are decorated with scenes of Ramayana and so on. That's why it's called Dashavatara temple. Entrance and pillars are adorned with paintings and carvings. And outside you can see Vishnu is shown asleep on Sheshanaga. So this is the image of the temple. So remember this. So same image may be asked as a picture study. So this is only surviving, only ruins are found, Garbhagriha seen, rest of them are all destroyed. So it is called Vishnu temple or Dashavatara temple, located in Devgarh, Jhansi in Uttar Pradesh. Outside what you see is, you can see on the wall, Vishnu laid on Sheshna, and the avatars, the 10 avatars of Vishnu is carved on the temple. That's why it is also called as a Dashavatara temple. Literature. So Gupta period constitutes an important phase in Sanskrit literature. There was a revival, and that's why it is also called classical age. So Kalidasa, Shudraka, Bana, Harisena, Dandin, Subandhu, Bharavi. So these are the great poets, literary figures. They all belong to Gupta age. So here we'll be discussing only about Kalidasa. So he is considered as the greatest poet and playwright of India. Dr. Vincent Smith, who called Samudragupta the Napoleon of India, calls Kalidasa as the Shakespeare of India. So his subject matter were love, nature and beauty. So gives reliable information on government, society, religion and political history. Some important works of Kalidasa. So his poetic works, Ritu Samhara, Raghuvamsha, Meghaduta and Kumara Sambhava, the 4 poetic works. He has written 3 dramas. Most important are Vikramorvashiyam, Malavikagnimitram, the story of Vikramaditya and Prabhavati and Rudrasena. Third, Abhignana Shakuntalam, the story of Dushyanta and Shakuntala. Very famous. For details you can Google it. So that's the end of Gupta age. Thank you.